There's a seventh grade teacher who has just gone viral on TikTok for explaining how his seventh grade students are reading at a fourth grade level.
So I'm not really understanding why they're not telling y'all. Like, we all know that the world is behind, like, globally, like, because of the pandemic and stuff. But I don't understand why they're not stressing to y'all how bad it is. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but these kids are... I'm going to just say this. I teach seventh grade. They are still performing on the fourth grade level. I don't care how you flip it, turn it, swing it, swindle it. They still performing on the fourth grade level. Ain't nobody talking about how they just keep moving, passing them on. They just keep passing them on. I can put as many zeros in this grade book as I want to. They're going to move that child to the 8th grade next year. Ain't nobody talking about that. Why they not talking about that? Why they not telling y'all that y'all... And why don't y'all know that y'all kids not performing on their grade level? Why y'all don't know this? Why y'all don't know?
I really like this guy. I know he's speaking in a way that's a bit unusual, but he's observing a true problem. And he's saying, why aren't they letting you know this? These kids are completely failing and they're not going to be left behind because the liberal governing structure would rather deny reality and fail these kids and put us all in a worse situation than acknowledge that there's a problem and that they themselves have failed to teach students and try to fix that problem so that the kids are actually brought up to the level at which they should be reading. You're not helping anybody. You're not doing anybody any favors by denying reality. You're not doing anybody any favors by pretending that they are succeeding when they are failing. You are compounding the problem. You're going to make the problem worse for everybody. You're going to make the problem worse for all of society because, believe it or not, even in our highly ideological age, societies still require some degree of competence in order to function. We live in an age where we think that as long as you have the right opinion, this is on the left and even on the right, as long as you just have the right opinion, everything's going to be fine. But that's not true. The grain mills are not going to keep on churning just because you have the right opinion about some LGBT issue. The trains are not going to keep moving. The traffic lights are not going to go from green to red. The airplanes are not going to keep flying in the sky. The basic functions of society, the sanitation workers are not going to keep things flowing just because you have the right opinion about some obscure ideological fashion. People need to know basic things. The society needs to know how to read. At least the people running society need to know how to read. They know how to do math. They need to know how to do math. They need to know how to, change a tire. Really like basic stuff. If a society can't do that, it doesn't matter how many highfalutin opinions it has. It's not going to flourish. It's not going to function. Some of this is existential. We're seeing a lot of things break down right now. We're seeing the economy begin to break down. We're seeing supply chains break down. We're seeing food break down. This was exacerbated by COVID, but it's been a long-standing trend. We're not functioning at the level that we need to be functioning. And that problem does not begin when you elect Joe Biden. It's exacerbated when you elect Joe Biden, but that problem begins when you just keep graduating these people from the 7th grade to the 8th grade when they don't know how to do the 4th grade material. That's going to exacerbate crime problems. It's going to exacerbate poverty problems. It's going to exacerbate problems of government because people aren't going to know how the government operates. They're not going to know how to vote. They're not going to know when they're being taken advantage of by demagogues. If the citizenry doesn't understand basic things, how is the government going to function when we are supposedly a self-government? Right now, go to goodranchers.com, use promo code Knowles. We all have a lot on our schedules with how much we've got to do every single day. You got to take your kids to sports. You got science fairs. You're prepping for the holidays. Well, the good news is you can take one big thing off your plate by putting great meat on your plate with Good Ranchers. You care about what your family eats, so does Good Ranchers. That is why they've spent years building relationships with local farms to source the best 100% American beef, chicken, pork, and now wild-caught seafood. The best of the land and sea can be delivered directly to your door. I just adore Good Ranchers. They're currently offering 2 years of free ground beef to anyone who subscribes, which is a $480 value and insane. They'll also lock in your price for 2 years, which is insane, especially with high inflation right now. They guarantee you 100% American meat. It is by far the best in the business. It's not even close. When I was a kid, steak was a very special occasion kind of thing. Now you can have steak delivered to your door for your whole family for an incredibly low price. Use code Knowles at goodranchers.com for $25 off and free ground beef for 2 years. Remember to subscribe to any box to lock in your price on America's best meat. GoodRanchers.com, promo code Knowles, KNWLES, for over $500 in savings. Subscribe to Good Ranchers, American meat delivered. Donald Trump, surprisingly, contrary to what so many people will have you believe, has excellent message discipline. When he was asked, will you be the Speaker of the House? He said, oh, thank you. I'm happy to help, but no, I'm not. I'm running for president. I'm up 50 points. So he always hits, I'm up, I'm leading, I'm the number one guy, I've got the nomination. But it's not just that. He then goes further and he says, he just launches into a stump speech. He says, the economy's terrible and everything under Joe Biden's awful and families are hurting and the border's open and whatever the parts of his stump speech are. He launches right into it. He never misses an opportunity to hammer home the 4 or 5 points on which his campaign is built, which contradicts something we've been told about Trump, which is that he's a demagogue. Donald Trump is not a demagogue. Donald Trump, for all of his sins, for all of his flaws, for all of his eccentricities, is kind of the opposite of a demagogue. A demagogue is one who totally changes his message based on what group he's speaking to. A demagogue is like Juan Perón down in Argentina, or for a more modern American example, Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton could go into any room and he could charm the pants off everybody and he could have everybody believing that he agrees with them. Barack Obama does the same thing. Barack Obama once bragged. He said that in politics, he could go into a room and make everyone in that room, even if they have different views, think that he was on their side. That's not Trump. Trump can offend people even who are on his side, but he's going to stick to his message. Every one of his speeches is the same thing. We got to stop the immigration. We got to build the wall. We got to have trade tariffs. We've got to make America great again. This is a country in decline. He just hits the same points no matter who he's talking to. He could be talking to a crowd at the MAGA auditorium, or he could be talking to his grandmother. He's going to say the same thing. And he's focused, and he's clearly running as though he's already clinched the nomination. He's running for the general now. Could we see an upset in Iowa? Maybe. I wouldn't count on it. Trump is still leading in Iowa among committed delegates. I think it's something like 2-1 over his next rival, DeSantis. But maybe the DeSantis campaign puts everything into Iowa and they pull an upset in Iowa. They would have to do the same in New Hampshire, which doesn't look possible because I think DeSantis is 4 or 5 in New Hampshire now. So maybe, I don't know, let's say Nikki Haley pulls an upset in New Hampshire. Okay. And then you get down to South Carolina. Who knows? Maybe Tim Scott, maybe Nikki Haley pull an upset in South Carolina. And then what's going to happen in Florida? Probably Trump is going to win Florida. I don't know. Maybe DeSantis wins Florida. I don't know. Then you go to Nevada. Almost certainly Trump is going to win Nevada. For all of these campaigns, I just don't see how this ends up any different than it did in 2016. There were all these moments when Cruz could have won it, or Rubio could have won it, or Kasich, probably not Kasich, but somebody could have won it, and it just never materialized. And I don't see that any difference now, other than that Trump is up by even more than he was back then. Boy, what a great clip that was. Now, make sure that you ring the bell. Subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. See you next time.